Right.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. It's now about 7:34. I'd like to call to order the Fenton Township Board meeting on the 17th of May, 2021. I ask everyone to please stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Gopal, would you lead us?
Thank you, sir. Lord, we're meeting here tonight to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. We ask you to impart your supreme wisdom upon these activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. And we thank you for being the source of our guidance tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, thanks, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Well, first I'd like to express how nice it is to have everybody back, see everybody's faces. We have a full house. You've probably noticed that the room has changed a little bit. Tom and I have been working, especially Tom, has been working very hard to make this happen. The future of meetings, I think, the one thing that COVID has taught us that I don't think Zoom's going away, or virtual meetings are going away, which I actually support in the sense that I think that we'll end up having more people that will join our meetings because they'll be able to stay in the comfort of their home, and those that want to be part of it will come, but those that don't will have the opportunity to join our meetings. So though it is nice, I hope all of you will find this, and especially the residents, part of the future. So, all right, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Lorraine.
Present.
Krug is present. Tucker.
Present.
Gopal.
Here.
Kotrick.
Present.
Kessler.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
You have a full board.
Thank you. I'd like to note for the record that the Township Attorney, Jack Belzer, and Operations Manager, Tom Broker, are also present. Additionally, the following Township officials are present via Zoom. Our fire chief, is our fire chief up there?
He's on a
Call. All right. Our zoning administrator, Mike Deem, our assessor, Julia Wilson, and our township engineer, Alan Lawrence. Tom, will you detail the procedures for those attending this virtual Zoom meeting?
Yes. To the members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded to be shown on public access TV, Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed, at which time further instruction will be given. For tonight's meeting, there's a public hearing regarding an industrial development district during which public comment will be accepted. All other public comment will be accepted near the end of the meeting, and meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website at www.fentontownship.org.
Thanks, Tom. All right, moving on. The first business in order is the approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I'll support.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Clerk Krug, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Krug votes yes. Gopal.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Kotrick.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, the agenda stands approved as presented. The next business in order is the meeting minutes. Included in the packet are the minutes from the May 3rd regular meeting. Are there any corrections or requested revisions to the meeting minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. All right, the next business in order is expenditures. Are there any questions from the board regarding any of the invoices?
I have one, and Tom can actually help me with this. Why are some of the election officials getting a certain amount and the other ones other?
Chairpersons get paid $200,
Yeah.
and the regular inspector is $150. We had one person who worked only the PM shift on the help desk, and so she got $50.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? on expenditures? Hearing none, I need a motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $587,639.45 per payment.
So moved, Tucker.
Support.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Clerk Crew, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Gopel.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Krug votes yes. Tucker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, the expenditures stand approved as presented. All right, the next business in order is public hearings. This is a request to amend Industrial Development District, Domico Med Devices LLC. We've all reviewed the memo in the packet. Operations Manager Broker will provide additional information.
Okay, just to paraphrase what's in the memo, Domico Med Device is planning to expand their existing facility, and they would like to apply for a new industrial facilities exemption certificate or tax abatement. And the property is located in the Industrial Development District number 13, but the legal description of that property has changed since it was first established back in 2002. So the state has advised we should revise the boundaries or amend the district to match the new legal description before taking any action on the exemption certificate. So they're not ready to apply for the exemption yet, but we felt it was appropriate just to get this step out of the way so it doesn't impede the remainder of the process.
Thanks, Tom. Is there anyone from Domico Med Devices who would like to speak tonight? Either.
Good evening, this is Mike Zopp. I'm calling in from Domico Med Device. I'm the owner of the company and appreciate the board's willingness to hear our request this evening. As Tom had indicated, we are contemplating an expansion at our property and just looking forward to the board's support for this request.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to comment on the request to amend the Industrial Development District for Domico Med Devices LLC? Hearing none, is there anyone attending via Zoom that would like to make a comment? Is there any board discussion? Okay, resolution number 2021-12. Clerk Krug, will you please present the resolution?
This is probably the shortest one I've ever presented. 2021-12 amends the legal description of Fenton Township Industrial Development District number 13, and I'll move the resolution.
Second.
All right. The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Clerk Krug, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Patrick.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Krug votes yes. Tucker.
Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, the next business in order is reports. Are there any committee reports to be made to the board this evening? All right. Communications, none. Adoption of ordinances, none. The next business in order is unfinished business. We have none. Moving on to new business, resolution number 2021-13, small distiller license application, Fenton Winery and Brewery. Cheryl Ventures LLC, doing business as Fenton Winery and Brewery, wishes to apply to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission to obtain a small distiller license and a brandy manufacturer license to complement their existing license at their North Long Lake Road location. A resolution from the local unit of government recommending approval of the application is a required component of the application. I'll open it up to applicant comments. Matt, I'd like to speak.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to have us out here as we look to expand our operations. As mentioned in the letter, and as you just briefly mentioned, we're looking at adding a small distiller's license and also a brandy manufacturer license, which is just simply distilling wine. We're a winery, so we might as well distill wine as well. It's going to be a small still. The size of it is only 52 gallons. This is not a large distillery that we're looking at adding. Our intent is to serve the spirits on premise, both in our tap room and our banquet facility, as well as serve some bottles or sell some bottles to go. We do not intend to do any mass production to the point where we would then be selling to the state that would allow us to sell it to convenience stores and grocery stores. This is a very small operation. It's a continuation of our passion for craft. You know, we've been in the business now for almost 14 years, doing wine, beer. We do seltzers, ciders, and this is just a continuation. And with everything going on, it's a necessary expansion of our business and our processes to offer more to our guests, both in the tap room and the banquet facility. So, and this is, as you see in the diagram, it is a small operation. It actually is utilizing some of the brewery to do to use some of the equipment of the brewery to do the work. So it's not a bunch of new equipment. It's actually utilizing some of the equipment we already have on site. So I'd be open for any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions from the board?
When do you hope to be in production, Matt?
My ultimate goal would be by our official 14th anniversary, which is January 26, 2022. That's kind of my end date. Things are moving along very well. As of last Thursday, we are federally approved by the Alcohol, Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, both for the brewery it's called the Distilled Spirits License. We got that approval, and then an amendment to the winery and the brewery because we're adding we had to move some things around. So this diagram and the application I've submitted to the federal government has been approved. So that was much quicker than I anticipated. Then there's a local approval here, and then the state is the next one, and that's actually where an investigator would be sent out once we're done and ready to, essentially right before we're ready to fire up and to witness everything. But ultimately, it would be January 26, 2022 at our 14th anniversary party. If we get it approved before that, then we would certainly add it before that.
Well, hopefully the regulations restricting people using a facility like you guys have built will be less or maybe gone, yeah.
Yeah,
we put a lot of work into it.
We wholeheartedly agree with that, and it is getting better. But yeah, we're still under some pretty strict restrictions with, especially our banquet facility. But we're doing what it takes. It's part of our core values. Do what it takes. So we've pivoted. We've done lots of things, and this is something that we've been talking about for a long time. We didn't dive in right away. It's something we've been talking about for a long time. And we really attack this just as, making sure we make the right move and add this and doing our due diligence and not.
Do you hope to specialize in one brandy, or you want to take a shot at the
initially the plan will be to start with gin and vodka, primarily because those two spirits do not need to be aged long term. And they're great mixers for drinks in our banquet facility. So it's a natural first step.
Yeah.
And then we love our brandies or bourbons and whiskeys and stuff. So we'll certainly do that. But that's minimum aging for that is 2 to 4 years. So that's you make it now and you have to sit on it. But in the meantime, you do your non-aged ones, your gins, your vodkas, some rums. So we plan to play around with quite a bit of that, especially the gins.
Wish you well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I'd just like to say that I was on the board when you started this whole process, and I frequented your establishment quite a bit in the summer, and you run a professional organization. I mean, it's first class. I watched you through the compliance, or complying with all the regulations. I know it had to be a tough road, so.
Yeah, it's been tough between the two of us, and we just have a phenomenal team. Our entire core team came back, and many of them worked with us through the whole thing. Whether it was just ordering online and curbside pickup to just outside, they've been with us right along the way, and they've invested in us. We've invested in them, and it's a great team, and we're excited to get more back to normal and looking at new stuff. We can actually think about new things. You know, we want to add a new process, add a new product line. So it's exciting for us because it's been exhausting the last year and a half.
Well, I think we've turned third base and we're on our way home, so
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yep.
So, good luck.
All right, appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, resolution number 2021-13. Clerk Krug, will you please present the resolution?
Yes. This resolution recommends approval of the application of Cheryl Ventures LLC, known as basically the Fenton Winery and Brewery, to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission for a small distiller license and brandy manufacturer license for their business located at 1370 North Long Lake Road. I'll move the resolution.
Second.
All right, the motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Lorraine?
Yes.
Krug votes yes. Tucker?
Yes.
Gopal?
Yes.
Kotrick?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Kessler?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Still wrapping my head around Ginny making gin.
It'll be called Jenny Gin.
Ginny gin. There's some marketing opportunities there.
We'll definitely take advantage of it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next under new business is the proposal to purchase wide format printer scanner for the township and its residents. We've all reviewed the memo in the packet. Operations manager, can you provide the details along with some slides surrounding the necessity of this purchase?
Okay, so the memo goes into detail of you know, we've had an HP 1050 that's been out of service for a couple of years, and it's almost 20 years old, so it's not really worth trying to repair again. So we solicited proposals for a couple of different printers we identified as having the functions we need without being outrageously priced. The KIP 660 laser and an HP DesignJet XL 3600, which is inkjet. MOS gave us a quote for the KIP, and also, but they don't sell this 3600 because it's a direct competitor to KIP, and that's their preferred line. They did give us a quote on the 2600, which is a step below. And then Brady Business System gave us the proposal on the HP 3600, but they don't currently service KIP, so they didn't offer a proposal for that. So we actually have three different proposals that we considered. The laser is obviously about double the price, and the annual service and supplies maintenance is a little more expensive. And to our surprise, when we sent them identical files to print, the laser was not as good as the inkjet on the print quality, which was very surprising to us. And the newer generation of HP inks, they dry very quickly. We used to print out big maps and let them sit for a day to dry out. Now they come out almost dry, and they don't run if they get wet. So they've made a lot of improvements over the years. So based on the proposals submitted and the sample prints, the supervisor and I both agreed that our recommendation would be to buy the HP 3600 from Brady's Business System. You also found in the packet, supervisor asked different departments to provide information regarding the benefits of having the wide scale printer, and that we should not even forget the fact that it's also a scanner, and there are a lot of projects we can accomplish with that scanner that will help clear out some space and get rid of some old paper documents. So I won't go through all of them. You've seen them in the list. But bottom line, this equipment upgrade would definitely improve operations for all township departments. And for the public, one of the features is if someone wants an aerial photo, you know, of their house on the lake, you know, we can provide a pretty nice quality photo at a reasonable price. So it's potentially something that will generate maybe enough revenue to cover our maintenance costs.
And more.
Hopefully.
Is there any board discussion? Questions?
Yeah, I thought it's extremely clear that this is needed, and I understood why the KIP printer and scanner wasn't a good option, but I was wondering if we could have a little more information about the T26 2600. I guess specifically, I was wondering why its annual service maintenance is so much lower, and if there are things that the 3600 gives that the 2600 wouldn't.
The 26, the print quality on the 26 wasn't quite as good as the 36, so that's really, we kind of stopped at that point. I don't have in front of me the detail on the MOS annual service. That was the fixed amount. I think there were some variables on top of that, but again, because we weren't going to recommend that one, and it really wasn't even one of the printers we wanted. They offered it up as an alternative because they didn't want to give us a quote on the 3600. So to be honest, I don't think it was really down to the KIP and the HP 3600, but because they gave us the quote, we did throw it in there. But I don't have any explanation beyond that. I can certainly get more detail on the service if we need that after the fact, but it's for only, it's not that much less as far as the purchase price, and there's a noticeable drop off in print quality in my mind.
Okay, thanks. And I was also wondering just about the longevity, how long we expect it to last.
Good question. Our 1050 lasted for about 15 years before it completely broke down, so I don't know if we'll get that much out of it, but 8 to 10 I don't think is unrealistic at all.
Thanks.
In my publishing company, usually, I think the last one we purchased was about 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
And then it gets a little expensive because technology changes so quickly.
Yeah.
And you'll find that buying something new is better. And just to elaborate before we go into any other, when I first took on the position, one of the things I wanted to do is to sit down with the department heads, with assessing, zoning, and ask them what were things that they needed or would like to have that would make their jobs a lot more efficient. And as you can see, all three of them have written letters to the board. But Tom didn't want to elaborate, but just some of them, like we have a whole room down here of paper files for, Julie could probably explain better, but from plans, drawings, and things like that. With a scanner, we're going to be able to take a whole room of files and be able to, because people come in and they request, oh, I built my house 5 years ago. Do you have a copy of my plans? Well, right now we can't offer that up. Or we have somebody that actually walks down here and looks through the files to find it. Now we'll be able to scan that over a 6-month period or whatever time it is, scan everything that we have, get rid of over time the paper, and just if somebody walks in, we'll just be able to couple of keystrokes, print it out, and charge them a minimal price to help cover the consumables. So it is something that's been well thought out. Tom and I spent a lot of time and also with the team to make sure this was a purchase that was needed, and it is.
Thanks.
I did not go into a deep dive, but I did go and check pricing on the internet in places where I would look. And I was only able to find the specific machine once, and it was about $17,000. So, that validated the thing. I went on the HP site. I couldn't find this specific model on the HP site, even though they had wide frame section where you go and look for it. So I don't know what the explanation is for that, but it's maybe just a specialization of it, and there's a different place you go. But I did the best that I could to validate the pricing. I knew they had done their homework beforehand, but I still look anyway.
We expect you to, especially you.
Especially me.
All right, any other board discussion? All right, I'll need a motion to approve the purchase of an HP DesignJet XL 3600 multifunction printer scanner with service contract from Brady Business Systems as presented.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Clerk Krug, will you call the roll?
Tucker,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Kutrick,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Krug votes yes. Lorraine,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business is 2021 local road improvement projects. Operations Manager, will you please review?
Yes, we're presenting 3 projects to the board for approval tonight. Briefly, an asphalt resurfacing of the only portion of Whitaker Road that is currently asphalt, and that's from Owen Road to about a quarter mile south of Owen Road. And then limestone resurfacing for Fairbanks Road from Thompson to Laring, Hogan Road from Laring to Smith. The limestone projects may look familiar, the board already approved them once, but it turned out the road commission gave us the wrong costs, so we're asking to have them reapproved tonight. So also in the, let me find it here. In your packet is an updated cost analysis, so it shows the previously approved projects, projects presented for approval tonight, and then some of the smaller maintenance type projects that we don't have estimates for yet. And it does show on paper here, we're about 5,000 projected deficit, but just today, our supervisor had secured a transfer of 50,000 and 50/50 allocation money from Forest Township to add to our pocket, basically. So we will not be over budget even if these prices come through. So we're in good shape budget-wise. We may even be able to do another small project if one comes up.
Good. Thanks, Tom.
Is this a lend-lease arrangement, or
No,
no, straight out?
straight out, I got the 50 and we don't have to pay it back.
It's money that was expiring, they couldn't use it, so we asked
Good.
first.
Gotta
and we
ask.
got it.
Excellent work, Mr. Supervisor.
Any other board discussion? I do want to reach out, since we're being televised, and thank Supervisor Mary Ann Price from Forest Township. She took it to her board and got it okayed, so it's $50,000 that we'll be able to use in our township. And
Very kind of them.
we certainly need to spend it, so.
That's great. I had a question on since we have this extra money.
We're loaded.
On the Whitaker Road project, has there ever been any discussion about paving that road down to Lobdell? I know there's a lot of, I used to live in one of those subdivisions, and there's a lot of consternation about the fact that there is a small stretch of dirt road that Coach Light would need to use to get to their subdivision. So they cut through Wyndham Estates because it's paved through there to get back to their subdivision. And it's an ongoing issue, has been for years, I think probably since those subdivisions were first put in. And it's probably, I can't imagine that it's any more than another, I think it's probably less than a quarter of a mile. And I just wondered, and I know there's stories way back about how nobody had the approval and that got paved in the dark of night and
Saturday.
so.
It was actually on Saturday.
I remember talking about this.
Yeah, I just wondered.
Historically, I remember the issue coming up. I don't remember what the conclusion was, but obviously we didn't pave it. But even a quarter mile, you know, Alan's on, he can probably correct me. A quarter mile with curb and gutter would be about 250,000.
Million mile, right?
But if
There
you
is
don't,
no curb and gutter back in there.
yeah, but if you take the curb and gutter out, I don't know what a quarter mile. Alan, what's a quarter mile of blacktop cost? He's laughing.
Quarter mile, I like you, John. Quarter mile with curb and gutter, you can, or a mile with curb and gutter, you can just look at it basically as $1 million. So you can break it down from there. Without curb and gutter, you take them out, it'd be ditch. Then you're looking at probably somewhere 170 to 180,000. That's just paving.
Understand. No engineering, no.
Yeah, I'm not throwing in engineering or anything, but Tom would have to correct me, but I believe that would be an assessment anyway, or is that does that belong to the road commission?
Well, Whitaker's a local road, so it'd be our project to fund if we did it. It's something we can put on a list to look at for next year, potentially, or the year after.
Yeah, the discussions that we've had before on that, and several of you said you remember it, is that the biggest concern of the residents was the stormwater that went to the township to the south of us and to Oakland County. And there was lots of complaints about that, and we were looking at seeing how we could fix it. And one of the ways of doing that was to go in and pave it and add some either fallout areas for stormwater or curb and gutter. And I thought I was going to get lynched before I got out of there. I don't believe they want it. But of course, that could have changed from then. That's been 8 years ago.
I think part of that problem was too, is a portion of that road is actually not in Genesee County. And that's the big problem there. They couldn't get everybody on the same page from the other county for the portion right outside of Coach Light there.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe Lobdell is the county line, so there probably is an issue with that.
It's kind of like Ripley Road, trying to get that fixed.
Any other board discussion? Okay, I need a motion to approve the following local road improvement projects for 2021 as presented. Asphalt resurfacing Whitaker Road from Owen Road to the end of the existing pavement. Limestone resurfacing Fairbanks Road from Thompson Road to Laring Road. And limestone resurfacing Hogan Road from Laring Road to Smith Road. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you call the roll?
Yes, Reed,
Yes.
Lawrence. Yeah. Phew. I was gonna ask if we could do it Saturday. but- Lorraine,
Yes.
Krug votes yes. Tucker,
Yes.
Gopal.
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Cotrick.
Yes.
That should scare him.
That motion passes.
Yes.
All right, next under new business, unfortunately, we have a staff resignation. Operations Manager, will you explain?
Yes, the letter is very brief, but Lisa Lawrence accepted a position with the Village of Holly. It was a really good opportunity. We tried really hard to convince her to stay, but we were unsuccessful, so we do wish her well in her new position, but the board does need to formally accept her resignation to make it official.
Any board discussion?
Just that Lisa has been playing a very key role in elections, AV ballots and stuff, along with Mr. Broker, and she will be missed. Luckily, we have a small election in August for Linden Schools, so we'll at least have an opportunity, whomever assumes that position, to give them a breather going in. So, but she will be missed.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Any other board discussion?
If we turn down the motion, does she have to stay?
I was gonna have it pushed off for a month or two, but
That seems fair, Bob.
Tom said I can't.
Anything else? Okay, I need a motion to accept with regret the resignation of Lisa Lawrence effective May 10th, 2021.
So moved.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you call the roll?
Yes. Gopal.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Cotrick.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Would it help if I voted no? Oh. Lorraine.
Yes.
Krug votes yes. Tucker.
I'll try it, Bob. No.
There you go.
Passes 6-1.
Didn't help,
Could have been
Bob.
5-2.
It didn't help, Bob.
No, didn't help, John.
I tried.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob. All right, the next business in order is board comment. Is there anyone on the board who has additional comments or concerns?
Well, one concern I have, and I think we all have it, is I've been on the board quite a time, and I've been approached by more of our constituents over the yard trash than I think any other subject that we've ever had come in front of the board.
Just ask.
We
up
didn't
front
have
desk.
this much when we had the recall, you know? I don't know what to do. I know that they are having a manpower shortage, but I don't know if we need to establish drop-off areas, if that would help some of the concern, but that creates another problem.
Right.
So,
Well, and people don't wanna put yard waste in their cars unless they
Yep.
have a truck, it's same with garbage.
Yep.
We feel, just to, not to, are you finished?
yeah,
I was gonna say, I talked to Julie today, and I just want you to know that our frontline staff are fielding, I think she said 171 calls.
always.
And I think that was since last Thursday,
No, since
or,
April 28th.
okay, I'm off on that. So, but they're doing a great job. I've been fielding calls. I'm sure
I know
Tom's
you
been
have.
fielding calls. And again, here's a company that I think is having a hard time, but it's something we do have to look at, and we're gonna have to find a solution to it, because I talked to a lady today that had, her whole street has had yard waste for 15 days. Was one street, Tom, wasn't it, it was 5 weeks? Or was it just 15 days?
4 weeks.
4 weeks?
4 weeks, well, 4 Fridays in a row, so a 3-week span basically is the longest I've dealt with so far.
All right, so, thanks, Bob. Is there anything else from the board regarding that, or anything else? Just to let you know, we are working on it, Tom.
Oh, I know you are.
Everybody's
It just-
working on it. We've had conference calls with Republic. We've had our rep in.
Yeah, I've talked to Gary myself at Republic, and they just can't, they pay a pretty good wage and still can't get the appropriate workers to drive the trucks and pick up the yard waste.
He's actually, I think he told Tom and I a story that he's actually experienced where drivers would be out on a run and just pull over and get out and leave the truck. A $500,000 truck on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So. All right, anything else? Moving on, the next business in order is public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. We will now open the meeting up for public comment on agenda and non-agenda items. First, is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the board? If so, I ask that you go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and adjust the microphone. Anybody? All right, moving on to those attending virtually via Zoom. Operations Manager, will you explain the public comment process using Zoom?
Sure, anyone attending via Zoom that wishes to address the board should either use the raise hand feature and be called on, or we only have a handful of people on tonight, so you could unmute yourself and start speaking. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less, and each person wishing to comment will have the opportunity to do so. Again, this is public comment on any issue, whether it was on tonight's agenda or not.
Is there anyone that is on via Zoom that would like to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items? Hearing none, it is now 8:11 p.m. If there's nothing else, I say good night, and the meeting is adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good
Al.
night, Alan.